last news story is the Video Game History Foundation's digital library is now publicly available in early access. The library includes promotional material of more than 1,500 out-of-print magazines.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, guidebooks.
Taking a look at any of these?
Not yet. I just heard about this particular being finally available today. Some notable ones that they have talked about are guidebooks and ephemera from video game events, including the first 12 years of E3. So that'd be like 95 to 2007. An interconnectional collection of From Software promotion materials, including a blessing from Software to donate them to the library. 100 CD-ROMs of artwork and press releases from GamePro. 100 hours of footage of the making of Myst. The Mark Flipman papers, a treasure trove of documents kept by Flipman from his time working on Konami, Acclaim, Atari, and others.
Okay.
Saying, quote, after collecting, cataloging, and digitizing video game history materials, the Video Game History Foundation is finally opening the virtual doors to its library wherever you are, the Foundation said in a statement last week. The VGHF was set up in 2017 by game preservationist and historian Frank Cafaldi. Since then, it's building an extensive collection of video game-related materials with the aim of being cataloged, digitized, and preserve the history of video games. This non-profit foundation relies on donations to build its archives. Thanks to your support, we've built a powerful tool for video game history research. We can't wait for you to get your first look at what we've been cooking up. This is awesome. I love it.
Yes.
I love this. You know, I cannot wait to dive in and start looking through stuff. You know, video games are in a very fortunate position of, like, hey, they're not quite where movies were, where movies, like, a ton of movies, like an absurd amount made before, like, the 40s are just gone forever. They're just gone forever. Video games are not in that situation because, thankfully, hoarders got to them early and started to understand their value early. Like, yes, there's going to be issues of magazines that are gone forever and games that are gone forever. But I think that in this particular case, most of the important stuff is still there, you know? Like, right. And I think that doing this for any art form is super important. It's super, super important. Like, it's video games are an art, and as such, this is, like, key, man. It's key.
It's you know, something that in many cases still is treated like a product to be used up and then scrapped. There's a lot of people in the business end that do not care about anything beyond that, and they treat it as such.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because, like, you look up, there are so many cool games that just get lost to history forever, you know, or, like, are barely accessible. I kind of have to give Microsoft some props in the way they handled backwards compatibility. Yes. I think that's awesome. I think that Nintendo, like, they understand that their past is important and they keep track of it, but they, like, don't always have it available to you. And that's unfortunate. And then Sony, it's just so apparent they don't give a shit about anything made before the PS4. They do not care. Sony has two eras of PlayStation, pre-PS4 and after. Yeah, and the
PS3, the way they designed the PS3 and did not think about game preservation or backwards compatibility or anything, fucked them so bad.
They thought, people are gonna. Well, they sort of did because they were like, we'll just, we'll have the PS2 chip in it and you'll be able to play PS1 and PS2 games.
Right, when they started, yes.
Yeah, but then, like, they had to take it out because of all the other dumbass decisions they made with that hardware, and, well, there you go. And then I think along with that, they also kind of went to a weird place where, you look at most of their marketing and it's like, the PS4 and 5 are so great. What about the 1, 2, and the 3? The PS4 and 5 are so great. Are you going to make any franchise besides God of War and Gran Turismo that are that were made before the PS4? The PS4 is really cool. Like, I think Astrobot is like the one exception I can think of. Like, it was made during the PS4 era, but it like acknowledges a lot of that history. Versus like, you look at that 30th anniversary thing they did, and it's just like, this feels really half-hearted compared to a lot of these. Like, I think the system thing was cool, and that was a nice warm fuzzy touch, and Astrobot coincidentally came out in this time period, but I don't know, it feels weird.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm flipping through the archive right now, and there's some good stuff. If you want to see some good ass 90s advertisements and early 2000s magazine advertisements, go check out the E3 exhibit book that was handed out to people that came in the late 90s and early 2000s. Just dozens of pages filled with ads for shit that's just like, damn, yep, that's from that time.
Well, yeah, especially because like back then E3 was like CES, but for video games. It was like, here, businessmen, come and figure out what you're buying for your stores for the next year. Like, it wasn't what it was like in the 2010s, where it was like, here, media types, come and show all the games off for us. Like, it back then, like, basically all the way until, like, I'd say around 04 is when stuff started to kind of shift a little bit, where it was very much like, yo, dog, hey, businessman from Walmart, Target, KB Toys, etc., come to our press conference to see the hot shit that you should be ordering a bunch of this year, so that way you have shelf space. That was what it was for. Like, that was the purpose,
Right.
And just similar now, when you go to CES, it's like, here's this concept we're working on, and by the way, here's like, like, maybe you should order this TV because it's gonna sell well. Shit like that. Like, it has no, so that's kind of cool to see. Is like, because I think that some of the history of the business side of this stuff is lost. That's actually a big part of why I really liked that Sega versus Nintendo book. I highly recommend that to everyone who is even a little bit interested in video game history. Just because you really get to see the mindset of inside of these companies.
Yeah.
It's very the business end of this is every bit as interesting as the design of the games themselves sometimes, because video games are a wild fucking industry.
It's yes.
Especially back then when it was like just Wild West.
Another fun little thing that's just nice to peek in and take a look at. The fact that it exists and we have access to it is really cool. Is the Journal of Computer Game Design, which had its first issue in June/July of 1987. And it is just straight up designers and programmers talking, like, straight up, like, in some cases typing code, and like, here's how I handle AI for this fucking 80s console, and here is hey, here's a thought piece on women playing video games and how to consider, video games for women. It's like, yep, here we are in 87 doing this. Cool.
The more really things change, the more they stay the same.
More things stay the same,
Yep.
It's always been. Just didn't have weirdos online yet.
Didn't have weirdos online being like, a girl playing video games.
Ah.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's some really cool stuff in here. I'm going to be flipping through this a bunch, especially specifically for the video game magazines. They have a ton of these.
Yeah, I want to dig through those. Do they have GamePro? Do you know what else they have?
Let's see. I'll go through here. 3DO Club News. You want to learn about 3DO?
Oh, yes, of course I do.
Casual Connect, Computer Game Review, Computer Game Strategy Plus, Digital Diner. Wow. EG Electronic Games / Computer Entertainment, EGM, Electronic Gaming
EGM.
Retail News,
I got fucking
Feature
EGM.
Play, Game Developer, that's a good one. Oh man, Game Informer from 91 to 2024, all of Game Informer's on there. You got Game Fan, Game Pro, Girl Gamer lasted for 3 years. Mega, which was from 92 to 95. Multimedia World. New Earth. This is just assorted news and media magazines. Next Generation / Next Gen. Ooh, the official Sega Dreamcast magazine for all your Sega Dreamcast news.
Yeah, the best console, of course.
Yes, of course. Official US PlayStation magazine, official Xbox magazine, PC Gamer, still going to this day. Wait, what? Are they just archiving those magazines as they come out?
I guess so, right? Like that's
weird. PC Games / Electronic Entertainment, PlayStation the official magazine, PS Max, which fall and winter 1999, whatever that is, did not last long. PSM, which looks like another PlayStation magazine, just okay, yeah, fine. SOE World's the official magazine, Superplay, The Cursor, Game Developer Life, the Journal of Computer Game Design, which again, that one's the fun one because it's just like, here's just a pamphlet with just text, like someone typed this in a computer terminal and sent it out there.
Go into the world, my son.
They have the last two are The Logical Gamer and Video Gaming and Computer Gaming Illustrated. These take place between 1982 and 1984.
All right,
that's wild. I'm gonna be looking at these.
I just found an issue of EGM that I must have read 1,000,000 times when it came out, and it was about the launch of the PSP and going over like the PSP. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. See, some of that nostalgia. That's good
there
stuff.
You go, just simmer in it. You know, I think stuff like this is important, and I think that another one of these is like there's a current magazine that's out there that I have bought a couple issues of, and I'm very much like, I should buy a subscription to this. It is Retro Gamer Magazine.
Yeah.
Like they keep hitting these topics, and I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's, it's like, if I buy a full year, it's, it's only, $4.16 an issue if I do it digitally. If I do a print, which is kind of what I'd prefer, it'd be, $8.75 an issue. So,
right. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not horrible.
Something to keep in your bathroom, if nothing else.
Yeah, you want to learn about the history of video games while pooping. That's the good way to do it.
I do. Oh, okay. So last thing here, I just found something really tragic. Video Gaming and Computer Gaming Illustrated went for 14 issues only, and
that is
part of the reason why is Video Gaming Illustrated #3 exclusive. E.T. comes home to video gaming. Atari's Oscar-winning ally. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, that'll go great. Good
buddy.
So this is cool. And then Retro Gamer. I need to, as soon as I find a concrete place to live, I'm gonna probably start a subscription to that.
Oh yeah,
I miss the magazine. The video game magazine was a fun little thing.
Yeah, also, I forgot that this issue totally had a thing about the next generation of video games. Speculating on PS3. So, this is before even E305, so we didn't even know what the 360 was yet. Okay. And, like, you have interviews of this thing being like, next-gen battle plan, stay one step ahead. One thing we like to talk about is blurring the lines between single-player and multiplayer gaming. Microsoft Studios general manager. Nintendo's next-gen battle plan. Innovate and kick ass. Look at what we did at E3 last year with the DS. We let people see it, touch it, get a strong reaction to it. That's what we're looking to do with the Revolution. And then, is Sony on here? Sony, overwhelming force. And then, let me see if there's a quote. Remember, we're never first to market. Remember Saturn, remember Dreamcast. That was supposed to be the next generation online console, and we saw what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is a cool thing. You guys should go look into this, and I think it's very important for people to understand the history of video games that are into the hobby. I think it is very important to understand where the industry is going based on its past. You know, it is a good thing.
And I think it's if you're into video games like we are, you're watching or listening to a podcast that is about the video games and the video game industry. I think this is just fun. I think peeking into the past to see what our equivalents were doing 30, 40 years ago, I think is super interesting.
Even 20 years ago, God, that feels weird to say.
I know.
The PSP turns 20 in 2 months in the United States. So
it's fun going back to stuff that you were reading as a kid and you were just like, whoa, and now you're coming back as an adult. And for us, we've been, covering video games online publicly for a little while now. Going back to look at these magazines and how they're written and put together is super fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's like, oh, that's so charming. That's
yeah.
Before the fucking hatred seeped into every part. Before the fucking seething anger infected this industry.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, hey, a couple things here before we round it off is hey, you should follow us on socials and on. We're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Blue Sky, we're on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this. Spotify if you want the full version. Apple Podcast if you want the full version. Check us out, get the word out. Yeah, we love you and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, remember, tomorrow is Friday, so that's a late show. So make sure that you get out there with us and come check out the late show. It's going to be at 9 p.m. And then if you can't do the late show, hey, it'll be on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts the very next day. We love you guys, and you have a wonderful, wonderful time.
Enjoy video games.
Enjoy them. Go play some cool shit.